So, if you could say your name and how old you are, and where you were from, and when you were born.
Maria Alexandra Paguada.
Where were you born?
Oh, I was born in Caracas, Venezuela,
What year?
April 9, 65.
How did you get to this country?
Initially, my parents sent my siblings and I to the U.S. to learn English. Best way to learn English, coming to the country
Right. Mm-hmm.
where the language is spoken. And then,
How old were you when that happened?
first time around, must have been around 16. Oh, maybe 15. I think. Around that age.
How many siblings do you have?
I have a brother and a sister.
How old were they?
How old were they when
Mm-hmm.
they came?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. My sister's a year younger, and my brother's 4 years younger.
Okay. So
Thank
you
you
were
right
so
here.
you were the oldest.
I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest one.
Was that hard for you? Being in a new country, not knowing the language, and having your younger
Yeah,
siblings
at
with
first, yeah. At first, I remember just going everywhere with my little dictionary. That was my companion everywhere.
you? Uh-huh.
And we just went, straight to high school.
Mm-hmm.
But we were in a different program, like for non-speaking English
Right.
people.
And
So-
your parents weren't with you at the time?
My dad
Your dad was there with you?
Mhm.
Where'd you guys live?
in Charlotte.
In Charlotte?
Yep.
Did you go back at any time?
To visit
Or to live?
back home,
Yeah.
both to visit and to live for a little while, and then I did,
Mm-hmm.
and then I ended up coming back to the U.S.
Have you noticed any changes in the community around you over the years? Just in general?
In here,
Yeah.
it has grown. There have been some improvements around,
Have you seen anything going, badly? Neighborhoods that weren't kept up as well as they should have been?
I guess mostly, maybe I notice it more in High Point
Mm-hmm.
than in here.
In Thomas?
In here, it's just security. It's
Right.
a little bit worse.
Yeah.
It's sad to say that. Yeah.
Has it been hard for you as Hispanic here in the U.S.? Cultural barriers, language barriers?
Well, a little bit, the language barrier, because when you have a heavy accent like I do,
Right,
some
yeah.
people do notice.
Has anyone treated you harshly because of it?
I wouldn't say harshly,
Right.
but you can tell, some people do not feel comfortable speaking
Right.
with someone when they have a heavy accent.
Mm-hmm.
They feel that you may not know less
Right.
just because you have an accent,
Right.
or maybe that you cannot hear when you ask them, especially when you're first learning the language.
Mm-hmm.
If I will ask someone, can you say that again?
Mhm.
Because of course it was said too fast for me because I
Right.
was learning the language.
Right.
They would think that I could not hear, so they would have said it louder. And I'm going, I can hear you, okay, but I just could not understand because it was too fast.
Right.
Since I'm learning. But other than that, not really.
Have you faced any bias because of how you look?
What do you mean by it?
Maybe like Rachel thinking that you were Asian
Or Indian?
or Indian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has anyone assumed differently because of you, or treated you in more of a positive or a negative way? It can be either one.
Because of my look?
Just because of how you look, because of how you sound.
Well, just going off of what you just said, going college searching, finishing school year, you go and look at other colleges.
Mm-hmm.
Not too long ago, I was at a college on the coast, and a girl walks up to me. We're talking and everything, and it turns out, at the end she goes, "Are you Indian? You Indian girl?" I'm like, "No." And she goes, "Oh, I didn't know. You look Indian." I'm like, "Oh, okay, thank you." She goes, "Okay." And so that was
Skin
that.
color.
But,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
She thought I was Indian.
Do you find that offensive that people automatically assume what your heritage is?
I did not. However, something that I have a problem with, and I hope people respect, is automatically assuming that I am of a certain, I guess, ethnicity. Like, for example, maybe I am Puerto Rican just because I'm dark skinned, or Brazilian, or Spain, like, or just Mexican, you know. Before you assume something, or I guess I would ask, or I mean, I don't go up to any person with, you know, someone that seems Asian and automatically assume that they're Chinese. That kind of how I see it, you know.
What do you think could help people realize that there are different variations of Hispanic cultures?
Basically asking.
There-
There are so many countries. that
Right.
People are probably
Do you
not
think?
aware.
Yeah. Do you think people even know that there's a difference though?
There will always be ignorance. Always be
Yeah.
ignorance. It does not matter. It does not matter if it's just Spanish, just for Asians, for African Americans. For example, Philippines. I can only imagine how much that they get. I mean, are you Asian? Well, what is it that you are? I mean,
Right.
sometimes it is so hard to explain what a Philippine is. You know, things like that. And there will always be those people that just don't care to understand.
Is keeping in touch with your Hispanic roots important to you?
Definitely.
What kind of things do you do to remember it, to practice it?
Like the culture,
Mm-hmm.
with the food, the language,
Holidays.
religion. Yeah.
Holidays.
Just probably the way we celebrate some of the, the major holidays like
Mhm.
Easter,
Mm-hmm.
Christmas. But
How,
just
how
slight
do you
difference.
how do you celebrate Easter?
Like, of course, going to mass or to church
Mhm.
to be part of mass during all the mandatory days,
Mm-hmm.
which the Catholics do here.
Right.
Catholics either from the north of the U.S. or south of the
Right.
U.S. Maybe some food that may be slightly different from the food.
And I'm pretty sure it's Mexican holiday, the Day of the Dead.
Oh.
Do you guys celebrate that, or
Mhm.
you do? Is
Yeah.
that an Hispanic heritage thing, or is that Mexican?
I know that we do back home in Venezuela.
Mhm.
I never been participant into it, but it's a church related
Right.
thing.
Spain.
Oh, okay.
It's big in Spain, right?
I know.
Is it hard for you to find access to the types of materials you need to prepare the food? Because like I'm from New Mexico, from the Southwest, and there's this green chili that's grown there that we can't grow here in North Carolina because the
No.
environment's different, and so it's really hard to get those materials whenever we want to cook Southwestern food at home. Do you face similar issues whenever you're trying to cook here?
With some vegetables and fruits, but just a few of them.
Mhm.
But other than that, we're able to find the what we call an instant dough for our main breakfast dish called arepa. We're lucky to be able to find that in Mexican stores.
Right. Do you feel, because you were born here in the U.S., right?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you feel like you're connected with your culture, your cultural background, as well as you want to be? Or do you feel like you've learned enough, I'm just going to stick with what I got?
No. Yes and no. I know I've been Americanized. I know that's a term that's, I guess, being born here, and you see it a lot, especially in younger generations. Kids are less likely, less willing to want to learn about their culture and to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
There are many kids that are ignorance again coming into play, not wanting to learn Spanish. They don't know it as well. So many Hispanic kids nowadays, they can't read Spanish, or they can't speak it well. I know that I'm not the best, to be honest, and that comes into play because I'm not being exactly raised in an Hispanic environment, because even here at home we speak a lot of English. That is not 90% of what we speak. We're not. Yes, I mean.
Yeah, as soon as when they were little,
Mm-hmm.
home, it was all Spanish, back and forth.
Yes, which is.
But once they started going to school, introduced to the TV,
Yes.
that's which is, it's good because they need to learn the language that is spoken in the country where they're living. They tend to.
Right. All right, last question. What advice would you give to someone who's trying to learn more about Hispanic heritages in general?
keep an open mind. It's a rich culture. The food is excellent.
If you like spicy.
I mean, for people that like spicy, I
Right.
mean, there's all kind of foods.
Right.
Like, right, you say New
Mexico.
New Mexico. I'm sure they have spicy food too.
Yes.
Good food too.
I don't do spicy.
Yeah, me neither. But there's a little bit of everything.
Right.
I mean, there's so much information on the internet to learn about it.
Do you think the internet's a reliable source?
Most of the time.
I guess it depends what source.
Right,
you know,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's all of my questions and all of my time actually. I gotta go.
You had to work?
Yes. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I really, really appreciate this.